Spark appraisal information, continued. The everything video part, I think we're at number 7, and picking up at 1 hour, 12 minutes, 4 seconds.
That orange just goes away. So now there are no comments up here being built on this analysis. But if I turn it on, it pops right back in. And you can see it says an analysis was performed on 57 competing sales over the past 12 months. The sales within this group had a median sale price of $245.9. Okay, that's great. Now you can also customize it from there. So I can say, you know what? I also want it to show the low and high. So when I check that box, which I just did, you see that orange comment above just altered itself. So now it says the median sale price is $245 with a low of $206 and a high of $296.5. I can further update that comment by clicking regression result. And regression result just tacks on this extra sentence that says this analysis shows a change of plus 1.2% a month. So if you want that to go into your comments, great. If not, just turn it off and then it won't go in there. And then once you are happy with everything, you just hit save layout and Spark will remember how you like things. And then periods here, I'll get into that in a minute. Periods only applies to charts that actually have data grouped into periods like months or quarters or years or whatever. This is a scatter plot, so nothing is grouped together. I'll show you that in a sec here though. All right, so I changed that to median sale price. I hit go back. Now I'm going to do the same thing here with my neighborhood data. I'm going to click it, change it from price per square foot to median price, hit go back, and there we go. You can see there is a comment in here based on that analysis as well. That's this one. All right, so I think I feel pretty happy about that. I'm good. Now, what if I want to do this same analysis but over 2 years instead of 1 year? I just curious, or maybe over 6 months. What's the most recent data doing? Let's try that. So all you do is instead of having to come in here and you keep tweaking it, you can just click clone widget. It pops up an exact copy. And then on this one, I can go in and say 6 months. So I can see what's going on. Okay, for my neighborhood data, it looks like over the past year, things were going up at 1% a month, but over just the past 6 months, they are skyrocketing at 5% a month. Now, to me, it looks like this one sale point right here is what's throwing everything off. So you might want to look at that, and you can easily look at that in Spark. You just click the dot. So you find the dot that looks like an outlier, you click it. Spark brings up all the data, but it highlights in green the one that you clicked. So that's this line right here. So I can look across, okay, $5.99. Wow, that's really high price per square foot compared to most things as well. Maybe I didn't mean to include that. Maybe let's look over here. It's 38 years old. There's the GLA. I'm not sure what's going on with that one. I need to go look deeper at it. There's not enough information on this screen for me to decide if I really meant to include that. But let's just say it shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have included that property. It's not truly competing. So I right click and I hit remove. And that's it. Now I hit go back. And you can see the chart updated. So now increasing it, instead of increasing it 4.8%, it went down to 3.4. So it looks like there still is more going on here. And it looks like it might be these few higher sales here, and there aren't any higher sales over on this side of the 6 months. So in the most recent 3 months, it kind of went up a bunch, but in the 3 months right before that, it didn't. So that's why it looks like there's still a big increase. So anyways, that's kind of how you can use Spark for that. And same thing if you wanted to look at 24 months, you just click that. And so now I've got a 1 year analysis and a 2 year analysis. And just that's kind of how I like to do things. I do a 1 year and a 2 year, and I include competing data and neighborhood. This is kind of how I do it right here, just so I can kind of decide, you know, are things really going up? Do I believe that? Once in a while, I'll check out a 6 month as well, just to see what's going on in the most recent data. But I know a lot of you also like to look more historically, so by all means, change this to whatever, you know, here's 5 years, you can see what's going on. However you think it's best for you to analyze your market, just set it up that way. Okay, and then I'm going to close that widget again and show you one other thing. So I'm going to clone widget, and then here, this is what I wanted to show you, regarding the distress and REO and short sale stuff. So I can click this card, flip it over, and exclude REOs and short sales. Hit go back, and then I'll do the same thing with my neighborhood data. Exclude REOs and short sales, hit go back, and there we go. So it looks like it made almost no difference. which of course we already knew, because if you were watching earlier in the video, we saw that there were 0 REOs and I think only 1 short sale in the past 2 years. So it made a slight impact on the increase per month on the neighborhood data, but it didn't impact the competing at all, going up 2%. So there's another thing you can do as far as analyzing data. And by the way, you can have as many charts as you want, so I can just keep making more. It doesn't matter. You just set it up again how you want. You can make as many or as few analyses as you want, and you can also move them around. So you know what? This one's more important. I want to see it most of the time. You just drag it up here. So now this one's up here, and the other one that was up there is now down here. Another thing you can do is, if let's just say you're going over 6 years, and you're doing it by month, and that's a whole bunch of bars, and it's kind of hard to see. You just go like this, and you stretch it out. You just grab this little arrow thing, and you drag it. And so you can make that easier to see if you want to, and then scroll down and see your other analyses. So that's the way that works. Now, I think I'm about done. There's that I can think of. There's, I think, one other item I want to touch on here. So the first time you use Spark, it's probably going to look something like this. Let me bring this back down. Get rid of this one. And, well, we don't need to get it exact. It's going to look something like this, though. So I just clicked the red X at the top corner of that card and removed it. Now I'm going to click the X at the top corner of this card, click it, and remove it. So now all I have is my competing data. No neighborhood data at all. And Spark is going to look something like this the first time you use it. There's only one analysis on the chart. I think it has 2 charts when it comes to sale price. It won't have the REO short sale excluded, but it'll look something like this. And maybe this one will be, let's just set it up exactly how I think you're going to see it the first time you use it. All right, I believe it's going to look something like this the first time you use Spark, although this will probably be a scatter plot. All right, so you go in here and you're like, okay, that's nice, but how did Brandon get that in Spark? How did he get that neighborhood analysis, those red dots or the red bars? All you do is you click to add an analysis right here. So I click that, it flips over my new card, and I can go in and define it. So let's say you want it to be neighborhood, boom, I want to analyze. And this is, by the way, this list of things to analyze is all context sensitive. It's all things related to what you might want to see when you're analyzing sale price. So there's quantity of sales, list price, original list price, price per square foot, blah, 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 all that stuff. So you just go in and pick, let's just say we want it to be median price. And you know what? I want to comment on that, and I'm happy. So there we go. And there you go. So now it's basically, that's all that is you just click add analysis, you tell Spark what you want it to analyze, and it pops it in. Now, if you just want to create a chart strictly from scratch, you just click add widget. And it adds this new chart down here that's empty. You tell it what you want to analyze. And let's just say average price. And there we go. So now I have a quarterly chart with using average price, and I can go and put a title in that chart if I want to. Again, don't forget, if you care about the data, you make sure and you click where it says show data. Spark brings up the charts and the data tables right here that are relevant. Okay, now I'm still going to tell you about the periods here in the chart, but I'm going to do that on the seller concession row. So let's go ahead and get out of this. Again, remember, hit save layout if you haven't set up the way you want. All right, so now I got the 1004MC back up. Now I'm going to go into seller concession row. That's this right here. And now I have Spark set up already to put in this comment based on periods. And I did this because I know a lot of appraisers like this comment in there. And by the way, I'm using percentages, but in Spark you can also use dollar amounts. So let me just go and show you what I mean here. And by the way, you can see I can hover over these cards and the relevant comment highlights above, or I can hover over the comment and the relevant card down below pulses orange. So that's another way that you can go in and see what analysis, especially if you have a lot, it's important, what analysis is building what comment. Okay, so you can see this card right here is building that first comment that says 57 competing sales in the past 12 months, 37% were reported to have concessions. So that's it. That's where this comment stops. You could also add a regression result in there if you wanted to, but I don't want to. So now I can go over to this card, and this card, instead of analyzing the number of sales that had concessions, it's analyzing the actual contribution amount of those sales. And you can see the difference. This one says concession percent, this one says contribution percent. So I click that, and now I can see how that's kind of being built. I've got my low high, and so it says those sales with seller concessions had a median seller contribution of 1.9%. So right around 2% was my median seller concessions for those sales, those competing sales, with a low of 0.2 and a high of 0.3. Quarterly, the median seller contribution was reported as oldest to most recent. So this is each quarter. So that's this number right here. The 1.6, you can see when I hover, it's 1.6, 1.8, and up here, 1.6, 1.8, 1.5, 1.4, which is, 2.4, which is this bar right here. So that, if you want to, you can then give that to the reader of your report. So that goes in as a comment saying, okay, these are what concessions we're doing, 1.6, 1.8, 1.5, 2.4. So they did go up quite a bit that last quarter. You might want to find out why. But so that's what's going on. You can choose to include as much or as little of that as you want. And if you don't like that quarterly percentage amount, you just uncheck it, and now it's gone. So that information.
Okay, ending this at 1 hour, 23 minutes.